is where we left off on connective tissue. CT stands for connective tissue covering. So I'm going to start from the inside and work my way out. Endomysium surround each muscle. And so remember, endo means within. So the endomysium is the connective tissue covering that surrounds each individual muscle fiber or muscle cell. Then we have a fascicle. A fascicle is a bundle of fibers. So if I'm putting a bunch of muscle fibers together, it becomes a fascicle. Fasciculus is singular, FYI. Perimysium surrounds each fascicle. Peri means around. So the perimysium is a connective tissue covering that surrounds the fascicles. And then a bundle of fascicles becomes the muscle belly. And then lastly, we have the epimysium. Epi means upon, so this is the outermost connective tissue that surrounds each skeletal muscle. Then we have our fascia, which is going to separate individual muscles from other muscles. If the fascia extends past the muscle like a cord, then it becomes a tendon, and you guys know that. The tendon links the muscle to the bone. But if it's a flat sheet of connective tissue, the fascia is called an aponeurosis. Aponeurosis is singular or plural, and so these are broad sheets that connect muscles together. So when we learn about the frontalis muscle and the occipitalis muscle, a posterior muscle back here, there's a flat sheet of connective tissue called the fascia. That's such as a flat sheet, that's called the aponeurosis. It's called the epicranial aponeurosis. I don't think I inserted a picture of that in here. No, I should have. Let me delete that. Okay, so this picture here is something for you to color as you're going through these notes. So imagine you'll pause it. I colored the myofibrils dark blue because that's the same color that I used up here for the myofibril. So remember, the myofibril is that organelle, that contractile unit within the muscle fibers. So that's the myofibril. Notice I said it has striations. I'm going to use straws to represent my myofibril. So I'm going to kind of also go into, you guys are going to build a muscle, and you can build the muscle however you want. I'll show you the handout in a second, but I'll show you how I built mine. When I think of the myofibrils, I think of straws, and they have these striations on them. So what I did was I added all of these lines on these straws, and these straws represent the myofibrils. And remember, inside of the myofibrils is actin and myosin. Actin and myosin is kind of hard to show. If I were to open up these straws and maybe put something inside of the straws, then those would be the myofilament, actin and myosin. Here's another model that a student created. I know it's hard to see right here, but here they have actin and myosin coming out of that myofibril. That would be the myofibril. Anyway, you guys, I put a bunch of craft materials in the bags that you're going to pick up, and you're going to be making your own 3D model of a muscle, a skeletal muscle. Back to my myofibrils. So the myofibrils are the straws. And then remember, I started with the innermost connective tissue, and so that's the endomysium. The endomysium surrounds the individual muscle fibers or the individual cells. And so I just grabbed tissue paper, tissue paper, like a connective tissue covering to surround my myofibrils. So depending on the size of the muscle, there would be more myofibrils. The smaller the muscle, the less myofibrils. The larger the muscle, the more myofibrils. I think your biceps brachii has about 600 myofibrils per muscle fiber. I would have to look that up. But here I only have 2 straws, so this is a really small muscle. Maybe this is one of my small muscles in my inner ear. So I have the endomysium, and if you're wondering where I'm at, so this is color-coded here. My endomysium here is a tissue that surrounds each cell. So here I have a single cell, and I'm not including the organelles. I'm not including the sarcoplasmic reticulum or the, what else? Sarcolemma, all that stuff. Okay, so I'm making another cell. So here's another cell. Remember, we call them muscle fibers. So I have 2 cells here. Here's another cell. So you can make however many cells you want. Here I have 3. I just created a bundle of cells. And remember, a bundle of cells, we also refer to them as fibers. I've just created a fascicle. So this is one fascicle. The connective tissue covering that holds all of these together is the perimycelium. Yellow, perimycelium. Peri means around. So this is one fasciculus, a fascicle, but you would think about making lots of these. And so when we bring all of our fascicles together, then it's the outermost tissue, the epimycelium, that holds all of those fascicles together. And so here, notice I have the yellow, the perimycelium, is surrounding the fascicle here. And now I have, let me get my red, now I have all of these fascicles. And holding all of these fascicles together is the outermost connective tissue, the epimycelium. And now this becomes my skeletal muscle. Maybe it's my biceps brachii that's attached up here to my upper arm. In black, the fascia, I kind of did the fascia as these like black lines. So you can see here that I've added the fascia. So here's the fascia. And so if it extends past the muscle belly, then it becomes the tendon. And so I just chose as my fascia saran wrap here. So notice here, this would be the fascia, right? But if it extends past the muscle belly, then it becomes the tendon. So I've just created my muscle model here. I would have to go back and add labels. The muscle model is pretty open-ended. So there's another handout in your digital science notebook that looks like this. It's called Building a Skeletal Muscle. I did insert a little picture over here on the right for you to insert a selfie so I can see your muscle. But you would color code it. So see how mine's color coded? And if you want to make yours similar to mine, you can. So my saran wrap is clear, and so I just left this box here clear for the saran wrap. And then my epimycelium, my outermost connective tissue, was light green. And then my perimycelium was yellow, and my endomycelium was light blue. And I wrote down here that my straws were the myofibrils. It's a pretty simple model. This is another example of a student model. And you're going to use this model to teach your friends and family, maybe over the dinner table. Again, I'm a firm believer when you teach things and you state things over and over again, then you learn them better. So then you're going to find 5 people and you're going to teach them all about the connective tissue coverings and the structure, how your skeletal muscle is built. And I'll be talking more about this in class 2. But that will be your skeletal muscle.